The cafe was full that morning, the hiss of the espresso machine, chatter of polished shoes, the clink of silver spoons. Then the door opened, and silence rippled across the room. A man in an orange maintenance uniform stepped in. His boots were covered in mud, his hands rough, his face tired, but his eyes gentle. He ordered the same thing he did every day, 1 black coffee, 2 sugars. No one noticed him except the waitress, who smiled softly. At the corner table sat a woman dressed in a crisp gray suit, gold watch flashing under the morning light. She was the kind of person people noticed. A success story in heels. Every morning their paths crossed. He would pick up the phone she forgot, hand back the pen she dropped, wipe the coffee she spilled, silently, without expecting a word. She never thanked him, until the day everything changed. That morning, laughter echoed through the cafe, cruel, loud, from a group of businessmen. When the lineman slipped on the wet floor helping her gather scattered papers, they laughed even harder. He rose slowly, bleeding from his knee, face flushed, yet he handed her the folder and said, "You might need these more than my pride." No one laughed after that. But weeks later, when she stood on a stage before cameras, she revealed a truth that stunned everyone, and reminded the world that sometimes the quietest acts of kindness echo the loudest through time. Gemstone full story, almost equals 1,200 words. His name was Jack Monroe, a city lineman, 40 years old, father of 1, and the kind of man who lived simply but gave generously. Every morning, before climbing power poles or fixing transformers, he stopped by a small place called Morning Brew Cafe. It wasn't fancy, just warm lights, wooden tables, and a chalkboard menu. He came for coffee, and a glimpse of someone who didn't even know his name. She sat by the same window every morning. Emma Richardson, young, sharp, the kind of woman who carried stress like perfume. Her laptop was always open, her phone always buzzing. They never spoken, not really. The first time he noticed her, she dropped her wallet. He picked it up, handed it back, and she nodded without a smile. The second time, her phone slid off the counter. He caught it midair, handed it back again. No words. And so it went. Jack was invisible to most, but not unkind. He helped because someone once helped him, back when his wife left, when he had nothing but a little girl who thought he hung the moon. "Daddy, you're my hero," Lily, his 8-year-old daughter, would say as she drew pictures of him in his orange uniform. He laughed. "I just fix lights, baby." "Yeah," she'd grin. "But you make the world brighter." Hot beverage. The routine of kindness weeks turned into months. The woman in the window remained the same, quiet, composed, lonely. Jack would refill her cup when she forgot to, pick up her dropped papers, or simply nod in greeting. "Jack," the barista teased one morning, "you're always helping that lady. She ever thank you?" He smiled. "Kindness doesn't wait for thank yous." Then came the rain. Cloud with rain. The rainy morning. It was the kind of rain that drowned out noise and left the city smelling like metal and earth. Emma sat by the window, eyes red. Jack noticed but said nothing. When he placed her usual coffee on the table, she finally spoke. "You always help me," she whispered. He shrugged. "Someone once did the same for me." She nodded, eyes glistening. "Thank you?" Just 2 words. But for Jack, they meant more than money ever could. Briefcase. The day everything changed. A month later, the cafe was packed. Suits and laptops everywhere. Jack entered after a long night shift, exhausted, covered in mud. As he walked toward Emma's table with her coffee, a group of businessmen sneered. "Why is that guy always hanging around her?" one said. "Probably thinks he's got a chance." Laughter. Jack pretended not to hear. He placed the cup gently on her table. "Same as always." She hesitated, embarrassed, but said nothing. Moments later, Emma dropped her folder. Papers flew everywhere. Jack bent down to help, but slipped on the wet floor, crashing to his knees. Laughter again. The cafe fell silent except for the cruel chuckles. Jack stayed on the floor, gathering papers carefully, ignoring the pain. When he stood, his knee was bleeding. He handed her the folder. "You might need these more than my pride." The laughter stopped. Emma's eyes filled with tears. She opened her mouth to speak, but no words came. He walked out without looking back. Newspaper, the article. A week later, Jack saw her picture in the paper. Headline: CO Emma Richardson donates $2 million for fallen lineman memorial. He froze. The article mentioned how a lineman had once saved her life years ago during a storm, pulling her from a wrecked car before the power lines exploded. He didn't remember her face then, but she remembered his. She's kind of a big deal, said the barista. Jack folded the paper quietly. Everyone's a big deal to someone. Microphone. The recognition. Days later, Morning Brew was unusually crowded. Cameras, reporters, and city officials. Jack walked in with Lily, not knowing why. Emma stood near the counter, wearing a navy dress, confidence in her posture but emotion in her eyes. When she saw him, she froze. You remember me? Jack asked softly. Her voice trembled. How could I forget the man who saved my life? The crowd gasped. She turned toward the cameras. 10 years ago, during a city storm, I crashed into a power pole. A lineman risked his life to pull me out. That lineman is this man. Applause filled the room. Cameras flashed. Emma continued. From today, this cafe will serve free coffee to every lineman, firefighter, and cleaner who keeps our city alive. Because real heroes wear uniforms no one notices. Tears ran down Lily's cheeks. Daddy, they know now. Jack knelt and hugged her. It's okay, baby. I didn't need them to. Emma smiled through tears. That's exactly why you deserve it. Kendall, the quiet hero. Reporters swarmed him. Mr. Monroe, how does it feel to be honored after all these years? Jack looked at Lily, then at Emma. I just came here for coffee. Laughter broke through tears. Cameras clicked. Later, Emma handed him a framed photograph, a restored image of that stormy night, him pulling her from the wreck. You kept me alive, Jack. You reminded me what humanity looks like. He smiled. You didn't have to do all this. She shook her head. I know. That's why it matters. Epilogue. A new beginning. A year passed. The cafe sign now read, Free coffee for everyday heroes. Photos of linemen, cleaners, firefighters, and nurses lined the walls. In the center, a single picture of Jack rescuing Emma. Jack sat by the window with Lily and Emma. The same sunlight, the same table, but everything felt warmer. Emma stirred her coffee. Do you regret it, saving me? Jack smiled. Not for a second. If I had waited, maybe you'd feel like you owed me. This way, it's just real. Lily slid a crayon drawing across the table. The three of them holding hands, under a sign that read Golden Tales. Underneath, she'd written, Heroes help. Heroes remember. Heroes love. Jack looked at her, eyes soft. You're right, baby. Outside, the city buzzed, unaware of the quiet hero who taught it that wealth wasn't about money, it was about heart. Compass Morals/ENDMESSAG. Sometimes, the richest hearts wear the dirtiest gloves. Kindness doesn't wait for applause, it just does. Because one small act of humanity can change the course of another person's life, and sometimes, even the world.